You have arrived at the start of an adventure that will change not only how you see the world, but also how you see yourself in it. We won't talk about shallow tactics or short-term fixes today. We're going to talk about something that can't be seen or touched, but is strong enough to change the course of our lives today: self-confidence. Do you ever wonder why we talk about self-confidence so much? The answer is both very easy and very complicated. Being sure of ourselves is what keeps us safe in storms, what makes us brave enough to jump into the unknown, and what helps us when we're not sure what to do. It is what dreams are made of in all of their different forms. But how do you get this faith in yourself? Is it something some people are lucky enough to be born with, or is it something we can work on and get stronger like any other muscle? In reality, self-confidence is like a fragile plant that needs love, care, and most of all time to grow. Here in this safe and welcoming space, I will guide you through 5 paths that will lead you to cultivate and nurture this plant until its roots are so deep that nothing can shake it. The first path is that of self-compassion. A gentle yet firm journey that teaches you to look at yourself with the same kindness you would offer a dear friend. It's easy to be harsh on ourselves, to criticize every misstep, every mistake. But what if you treat yourself with the same understanding and warmth you extend to others? You'll discover that self-compassion is the fertile ground where self-confidence begins to sprout. The second path leads us to embrace our vulnerability. Yes, you heard that right. In our vulnerability lies our greatest strength. Allowing yourself to be vulnerable is to open up to authenticity. It's telling the world, this is me with my fears, my dreams, and same and space and well-being is a powerful declaration of self-respect. And what is self-confidence if not deeply respecting oneself? Being authentically yourself without apologies is the fourth path. In a world constantly trying to mold us, staying true to who you really are is the most powerful act of rebellion. Self-confidence flourishes in that authenticity. Last but not least is the path of listening to your intuition. That soft yet persistent voice holds more wisdom than you imagine. Learning to trust your intuition is learning to trust yourself. Each of these routes has its own rewards and difficulties. I want you to come along with me on this journey and see how each step brings you closer to becoming the whole, true, and confident person you were meant to be. When we practice self-compassion, we go deep into Resini and own self-confidence. We start by understanding that we are all human, accepting our flaws and making a commitment to self-discovery and self-care. Self-compassion shines like a light in a world that often judges people's worth by their accomplishments, productivity, and how easily they can handle problems. It reminds us that it's okay not to always be okay, that it's okay to fail, and that there is beauty in every stumble. That's not the same thing as self-indulgence or self-pity. It's a practice to show ourselves the same care, kindness, and support that we would easily give to a close friend or family member who is going through a hard time. It means noting pain, failure, or satisfaction without rejecting or judging them. It means letting ourselves feel what we feel without becoming too attached to those feelings or letting them define who we are. Kristen Neff, a top expert on self-compassion, says that self-kindness, shared humanity, and mindfulness are the 3 most important parts of this practice. Being kind to ourselves means being nice and understanding with ourselves when we're hurt or fail, instead of being harsh or dismissive. When we believe in shared humanity, we understand that pain and feeling inadequate are normal parts of being human and don't just happen to some people. Being mindful means noticing our thoughts and feelings as they are without trying to hide or push them away. Practicing self-compassion begins with acknowledging that every mistake, every failure, and every moment of pain are opportunities for learning and growth. Instead of punishing ourselves with internal criticism that can be merciless, self-compassion invites us to ask, what do I need right now to take care of myself? This question can open up a space for healing and understanding, a space where we can offer ourselves comfort and acknowledge our emotional needs with kindness and acceptance. Cultivating self-compassion also involves challenging and reshaping our internal beliefs about self-worth and success. Often, our minds are flooded with internal voices that reflect past criticisms, unrealistic expectations, and destructive comparisons with others. Practicing self-compassion means identifying these voices, understanding that they do not define us, and replacing them with messages of support and self-love. It's a process of emotional re-education where we learn to value ourselves not for our achievements or how others perceive us, but for our intrinsic essence as human beings worthy of love and respect. Self-compassion can also help you stop putting things off and stop being so hard on yourself when you criticize yourself. If we don't drive ourselves with fear of failing or self-criticism, which can make us avoid things or feel stressed, we can drive ourselves with the desire to care for our own well-being. This positive outlook can make us stronger so we can deal with problems and work toward our goals in a way that is healthy and lasts longer. Self-compassion can become a part of our daily lives by doing simple things like self-compassion meditation, writing kind letters to ourselves, or even changing the way we talk to ourselves when we're feeling stressed or like we failed. Self-compassion is a skill that needs to be practiced and fully developed over time, just like any other skill. It won't happen right away, but if you work at it and are dedicated, it can grow into a source of strength and self-confidence that lasts forever. Being kind to ourselves frees us from trying to be perfect and the fear of failing, which leads to a more real and satisfying life. It shows us that our worth doesn't depend on how perfect we are, but on how well we can deal with flaws, with grace, understanding, and kindness. Self-compassion is the first step toward truly caring about everyone else. It not only makes our relationship with ourselves better, but it also helps us build deeper, more important relationships with other people. As in summary, practicing self-compassion is a revolutionary act of self-acceptance and self-love that lays the foundation for building solid and enduring self-confidence. I invite you to look at yourself with kindness, to recognize your shared humanity, and to live with mindful attention that frees you from destructive self-criticism. As you walk this path, you will not only transform your relationship with yourself, but also open your heart to receive and give love more freely and fully. Embracing vulnerability is a brave journey to the core of our existence, a process of opening ourselves to life in all its complexity, beauty, and pain. In a world that often values strength and self-sufficiency as supreme virtues, admitting our vulnerability may seem counterintuitive, even dangerous. However, it is precisely in this act of courage that we discover our true strength and forge a self-confidence rooted not in denying our weaknesses, but in fully accepting our humanity. Vulnerability is the fertile ground from which true connection with ourselves and others springs. It's recognizing that, like any human being, we are made of both light and shadows, and that our worth does not diminish by facing fears, doubts, or failures. On the contrary, embracing our vulnerability teaches us that it's possible to find balance and growth, even in the most challenging moments. When we show our weak spots, we have to face our darkest fears and question the stories we tell ourselves that tell us we're not good enough. This process is painful, but it frees us, for it takes down the walls we've put up around our hearts and lets us feel empathy, love, and belonging that are only possible when we show up as ourselves. No masks or lies. Accepting how weak we are also means realizing that we can't control everything and that perfection is a dream that we can never reach. We can free ourselves from self-imposed demands and the pressure to meet unrealistic standards this way, which lets us live a more honest and free life. Accepting that we aren't perfect makes us more compassionate and kind to ourselves and others. This makes it safe for personal growth and for relationships to get deeper and more important. But being open to being hurt isn't always easy. Our society often looks down on people who fail or are weak, pushing an image of constant success and unbreakable strength instead. Freeing ourselves from these cultural norms takes bravery and a strong belief in the importance of our shared humanity. To be seen when we're at our weakest, to ask for help when we need it, and to accept that we don't always know what to do are all brave things to do. One of the greatest challenges in embracing our vulnerability is the fear of rejection or judgment. This fear can keep us trapped in a cycle of isolation and loneliness, depriving us of the richness of human connection. However, by facing these fears and allowing ourselves to be seen in our authenticity, we discover that vulnerability is a bridge to connection, not a chasm that separates us. We find that by sharing our stories, fears, and dreams, we not only heal our own wounds, but also help others in their own healing process. The practice of embracing your vulnerability is fundamentally an act of self-confidence. It's believing in our ability to face uncertainty, to recover from life's blows, and to move forward with a renewed sense of purpose and belonging. It's trusting that even in our darkest moments, we are worthy of love and respect. To integrate vulnerability into our lives, we can start by cultivating environments and relationships where authenticity is valued and respected. This involves seeking and offering support, sharing our experiences honestly, and listening empathetically to others' stories. It also requires a consistent practice of self-exploration and reflection, learning to recognize and express our emotions, needs, and boundaries in a healthy and constructive manner. Embracing vulnerability not only transforms our relationship with ourselves, but also redefines how we interact with the world. It allows us to lead with empathy, build communities based on trust and mutual respect, and create a space where everyone can feel safe to be themselves. Ultimately, vulnerability is a source of power that empowers us to live with courage, compassion, and authenticity. Finally, letting yourself be vulnerable is a life-changing way to gain deeper and more important self-confidence. The process pushes you to accept your humanity with all of its flaws, to connect with others in a real way, and to live with the courage that comes from seeing and accepting your flaws. You will not only be free from fear and insecurity, but you will also be able to enter a world of opportunities where love, connection, and growth can grow in good soil. Setting and sticking to limits is a fine balance between respecting yourself and being open with others. It's an important balance for building healthy relationships and lasting confidence. Boundaries keep our emotional, physical, and mental health safe on this path of self-discovery and personal affirmation by making it clear what is and isn't okay in our relationships and how we let the world treat us. Self-esteem is a key part of being able to set good limits. We can only understand how important it is to protect our space, time, and energy when we value ourselves enough. Boundaries are not walls that are meant to keep us apart. They are bridges that allow us to connect with others in a way that is respectful and beneficial for both parties. They are statements that support our worth and dignity, which give us the power and safety to interact with the world. However, the task of establishing clear and consistent boundaries can be challenging. Often we fear that doing so may hurt others' feelings or risk being perceived as selfish or unapproachable. This fear of confrontation or rejection can lead us to compromise our own values and needs, leaving us vulnerable to manipulation and emotional exhaustion. Yet it is precisely in this act of courage, when we decide to defend our boundaries, that our self-confidence finds its true power. Effective boundary setting begins with deep self-understanding, a clear understanding of our needs, desires, and values that requires us to ask ourselves tough questions about what we truly value and what we are willing to tolerate in our lives. This introspection is not a one-time exercise, but a continuous process of self-awareness that evolves as we grow and change. Once you have identified your personal boundaries, the next step is to communicate them clearly, directly, and unapologetically. This communication requires both firmness and sensitivity, as the goal is not to push people away, but to invite them to interact with us in a way that respects our needs. This is where the practice of assertiveness becomes invaluable, allowing us to express our thoughts and feelings without aggression or passivity, but from a place of confidence and mutual respect. Maintaining established boundaries is as crucial as defining them. We will inevitably encounter resistance, whether from those who are not accustomed to our newfound sense of autonomy or from our own internal insecurities that urge us to yield to pressure. Standing firm in the face of these challenges requires courage, a solid conviction in our right to be treated with respect, and is a testament to our self-esteem, a fundamental pillar of self-confidence. Healthy limits are also good for everyone around them, not just the person who sets them. We build relationships based on honesty and mutual respect by showing others how to respect themselves and talk to each other openly. We make a space where love and understanding can grow without worrying about being hurt or stifled. To put it another way, borders are not limits. They are freedoms that let us live our true selves. It's important to remember, though, that limits can and should be changed. As time goes on, things that were once important boundaries can become things that get in the way of growth. The important thing is to stay open to how we change and how our relationships change, and to adjust our limits as need to reflect our ongoing learning and growth. Setting and sticking to your limits is, in the end, an act of self-love. It makes us feel good about our own self-worth and teaches us that we have the right and duty to look out for ourselves by choosing how others enter our lives, realizing that we deserve respect, care, and attention, and that by standing up for our limits, we are not only protecting our health, but also building stronger, more meaningful relationships. In summary, the boundaries we set are an expression of who we are and what we value. They are a statement of our self-confidence in action, a reminder that we deserve to be treated with love, respect, and dignity. Embracing the power of setting and maintaining boundaries opens doors to a life of authenticity, freedom, and profound connection with ourselves and others. This is crucial. Being oneself, Jeff, at its core, is the purest expression of our self-confidence. This journey, though deeply personal and sometimes lonely, is perhaps the most liberating we can undertake in a world flooded with expectations, social norms, and pressures to conform. Staying true to who we really are requires extraordinary strength and conviction. However, it is precisely through this act of courage that you will discover your authenticity, an invaluable treasure that allows you to live a full and meaningful life. Being authentically oneself means navigating life guided by our own convictions, values, and passions rather than external impositions or expectations. It means having the courage to show our true essence to the world with all our quirks, strengths, and weaknesses, knowing that our greatest strength lies in our uniqueness. But this process of getting to know yourself and accepting yourself isn't always easy. Fear of being alone and rejected is one of the biggest things that gets in the way of being yourself. This fear, which comes from wanting to fit in and be liked, can make us hide or push away, important parts of who we are. In order to fit in or be accepted, it can make us want to put on masks or play parts that don't really show who we are. But every time we give up a little bit of who we really are, it costs us a lot in terms of our honesty and happiness. True self-confidence comes out when we are brave enough to take off these masks and break free from the chains of what other people think of us. It takes a deep understanding of our core values, wants, and dreams, as well as the resolve to live our lives in line with them, even if it means going against the flow. Through self-affirmation, we not only feel freer, but we can also build deeper, more important relationships with other people that are based on honesty and acceptance. Being yourself is also a way to fight back against a world that is always trying to change us. It means that our worth doesn't come from how well we fit other people's ideas, but from being real and human. People look up to us when we embrace our real selves because we show them that it is possible to live an honest life and be successful. However, being oneself also involves accepting that we are always evolving, recognizing that we can change, grow, and rediscover ourselves is an essential part of this authenticity. It's not about clinging to a fixed identity, but allowing ourselves to explore, experience, and freely express who we are at different stages of our lives. To foster this authenticity, it is crucial to cultivate an environment that supports and accepts us as we are. This may involve setting healthy boundaries, surrounding ourselves with people who value and celebrate our uniqueness, and seeking spaces where we can freely express ourselves without fear of judgment. And furthermore, practicing self-compassion and self-acceptance are crucial as they allow us to embrace our imperfections and see them as integral parts of our humanity. Being oneself is ultimately the path to true freedom. It frees us from the prison of conformity, allows us to explore the vast landscape, our own individuality. And leads us to experience life on its most authentic terms. We learn on this journey that our unique voice is the most valuable thing we can give to the world, and that our self-confidence comes not from knowing for sure that other people will accept us, but from knowing that our very presence has value in and of itself. To sum up, being yourself is a brave and empowering act of confidence. It's a promise to live your life honestly, to tell the truth, and to be yourself without worrying about what other people will think. Being authentic will not only make your life better, but it will also leave a lasting mark on the world, showing that your biggest beauty and strength lie in your ability to be yourself. By embracing who we are, we not only feel deeply satisfied with ourselves, but we also encourage others to find and enjoy their own uniqueness. When you listen to your intuition, you tune into that inner voice that has a lot of knowledge, but is often drowned out by the noise of the world and your own doubts. That voice, that intuitive feeling, is your internal compass, a beacon that, when given due attention, can guide you through the complexities of life with surprising clarity. In a world where reason and logic are highly valued, reclaiming the power of our intuition is a revolutionary act of self-confidence. Intuition is that knowledge that arises spontaneously without direct intervention of analytical reasoning. It's an instant understanding, a knowing without knowing how we know. This intuitive capacity, far from being a mystical gift or supernatural ability, is an innate function of the human being, a residue of our evolution that connects us to quick and effective decision-making based on accumulated subconscious experiences and knowledge. Tuning in and listening to our intuition is essentially a process of reconnecting with ourselves. It requires silence, attention, and a willingness to listen not only to what our mind says, but also to what our body and emotions communicate to us. Practices like meditation, reflection, and observing reality in the present moment are powerful tools that help calm the constant stream of thoughts and concerns, allowing us to access that inner wisdom. However, trusting our intuition also involves facing the fear of the unknown and the possibility of being wrong. We live in a culture that often prioritizes safety and certainty over uncertainty and risk. Yet, intuition invites us to embrace uncertainty, to make decisions from a place of deep internal connection, even when we cannot see the full path unfolding before us. It's an exercise of faith in ourselves and our ability to navigate life. We use our intuition a lot when making personal and professional choices, and it's also a big part of how we connect with other people. Through intuition, we can see past what people say and how they look, picking up here on their feelings and goals that they don't say out loud. This natural empathy can strengthen our bonds with others by letting us talk to each other in a more honest and caring way. It takes time, patience, and practice to build a strong connection with our instincts. The first step is to realize that we all have this power, and that with practice, we can learn to tell the difference between the noise of our fears and worries and the calm, clear voice of our inner direction. To do this, we need to make time for silence and thought. Learn to ask our intuition questions, and most importantly, be brave enough to follow its answers. We have to be ready to make mistakes and learn from them if we want to follow our gut. It's not always right to follow your intuition, and part of getting better at it is figuring out when it's telling you the truth and when our feelings or personal wants are getting in the way. We can learn and grow from every event, whether it goes well or not. This builds our confidence in our ability to make choices that are in line with who we really are. In the end, trusting your gut is a very powerful act of self-confidence. It teaches us to believe in our own abilities to see, understand, and act beyond what we can see or understand rationally. It tells us that we have knowledge and understanding that goes beyond our minds and connects us to a higher, more universal wisdom. Ding, that transcends reason, connecting us to a deeper, more universal wisdom. In the end, your intuition is an invitation to live more fully and authentically. It encourages you to release the reins of excessive control and to approach life with curiosity, flexibility, and renewed trust in your own ability to guide yourself toward your true purpose and happiness. In this sense, listening to your intuition is not just a path to self-confidence, but also to a richer, more connected, and meaningful life. By honoring your intuition, you honor the entirety of your being, embracing life with all its complexity and beauty. As we near the end of this journey together, reflecting on the paths we have explored, it is impossible not to feel profound gratitude for the process of discovery and growth we have undertaken. From embracing self-compassion and our own vulnerability to the revolutionary act of staying true to ourselves and listening to the whispering wisdom of our intuition, each step has been an affirmation of our commitment to self-confidence and self-discovery. This journey, far from being a mere exploration of abstract concepts, has been an invitation to dive deeply into the waters of our own essence, to confront our fears, and to celebrate our uniqueness with courage. In this process, we have learned that self-confidence is not a final destination, but a path built day by day, decision by decision, in the constant dance between our challenges and our victories. Looking back, we can see that each shared strategy is not just a tool, but a beacon of light on the path to a life lived with authenticity and purpose. Being kind to ourselves is taught by self-compassion. It reminds us that we deserve love and care, especially when we need it the most. Vulnerability, which is both weak and strong at the same time, shows us where our biggest strength and connection to others lie. Setting and keeping limits has become an important part of self-regulation. It helps us remember that our health and peace are important to us and that we are responsible for them. At the same time, having the courage to be ourselves pushes us to live without shame and shine with our own special light in a world that tries to make us all the same. Finally, following our gut tells us what to do by connecting us with our inner wisdom and leading us to choices and ways that are true to who we are. We are asked to think, to question, and most of all, to act on all of these roots. They ask us to be honest and brave about looking inside ourselves, to see our flaws and praise our strengths. As we go through this, we learn that our battles, mistakes, and never-ending efforts to grow and change are just as important to our self-confidence as our wins. As we come to the end of this chapter, I hope that the words we've spoken together on this trip have touched you deeply and are seeds of change and growth. May you find in them the inspiration to continue exploring the vast landscape within you, to live with unbreakable authenticity and to walk through life with a self-confidence that is renewed and strengthened with every step you take. The journey to self-confidence is deeply personal and unique to each of us. There is no single path or map to follow. Instead, there's an internal compass that, if we learn to listen to and trust, will guide us toward our deepest truth and toward a life of fulfillment and meaning. As you progress on your journey, I invite you to carry with you the lessons learned, to embrace both your light and your shadows, and to remember that at the heart of vulnerability, authenticity, and intuition lies the true essence of who you are. May your life be a reflection of your courage to be true to yourself, to establish and honor your boundaries, and to always follow the voice of your intuition.